Hey everyone. Wait. Hey everyone. We are here gathered today under the aegis of ACM-VIT to mark the commencement of a month-long celebration of open source coding, affectionately termed as Forktober, in alignment with the global Hacktoberfest movement. Our journey pivots on the GitHub platform, the crucible where code matures into applications and ideas blossom into reality. Each contribution you make is a badge of honor, a testament to your growing capabilities. It's a tangible marker in your portfolio that echoes loudly in the corridors of potential employment and collaborative ventures. We invite you to immerse yourself in a plethora of projects spanning from app development, web development, and machine learning on ACM's GitHub. Your code could be the ripple that triggers a cascade of innovation. I am Adarsh, and I'll be introducing Tanmay next, who will go over the content of GitHub.
Okay. Hello, everyone. And first, I want to say welcome to everyone and thank you for joining the meeting. So I think I'll just go around with like the introduction of what is Git and all. So first of all, like I'm telling you, don't worry, Git is nothing scary. It's like a simple software that helps you make you code properly. It's not like a programming language or anything. So just chill out. And so let me just start presenting. So first we'll start with introduction that what I'm doing right now. And next we'll go on like about basic information about Git. So what is Git? How does Git work? And why do we even need Git? And after that we'll go into very simple Git concepts, a few basic concepts what for you to quick start using it. Nothing like no 100 pages of documentation, nothing very deep. So after that, what are you going to do with learning everything theoretically? You need to do something practice, right? So you will be doing with us interactive session. We'll have a repo. We'll all contribute together in the spirit of Forktober and this October. So I'll be happy and I'm glad to be here with you guys. So now let's start with what is Git. Introduction. Introduction. So what is Git? So Git. Everyone talks about Git everywhere. Everywhere, everyone's from YouTube, TikTok, everywhere talks about what is Git. Do we need Git? What is Git? So Git is just like so you might know programming languages C, C++, Java, whatever. I don't know, but Git is a software. Just like how you use WhatsApp or Facebook to talk to people, you use VS Code to code. Just like that, Git is just another tool that helps you work. So let's say you might be like, I just run a program, I run it on my computer. What is all this Git? What is all the fuss about? So like maybe you're just writing small projects alone, like one simple 10-line code or anything. But large companies, there are multiple teams, like 10, 20, 50, or 100 people working on the same project. And everyone have to work together on the same programs and same software. So for those kind of things, it's generally, it's not that easy to work alone, not that easy to work in a team. So for these kind of things, for collaborations and working together, Git is very important. So like for example, let's say Adarsh and Raghav are sitting on a project. Okay, let's say it's a website that I'm making. So let's say I make a design. I make a nice design, and I give it to him. So he makes a website for it. So let's say what happens, like let's say he's doing on his own. I give him the design. I sent him in WhatsApp or something. I sent him a message. But what happens is, well, like everyone goes to sleep, he goes to work, but like midnight at 3 o'clock I wake up, I'm like, oh no, I made a mistake, I need to change it. So I edit the design and I message him again at 3 a.m., but he doesn't see it. He finished the whole project in the old design I sent him, and then he shows the final product to me. And I'll be like, oh no, it's the wrong thing completely together. So that's because of these communication issues. Git also solves all these communication issues as everything is automated. So this is another thing. So that's the basic gist of why you need Git. So let's get into the basics first. Yeah. So Git is technically a version control system. So what is version control? It sounds like some technical jargon. So version control is like, as I said to you, I had an old version of design and I revised it, and all these confusion happen. So what Git takes Git does, it takes care of the versions, uh, it what exactly can I say? Yeah. So it tracks the whole code and checks the changes, and you have all your revised versions, everything shown as it is. So it makes you easier to work around with the code. So these are the five main features of Git. So first, as in tracking changes, you can see every single change you did. Like, you added a function, you deleted something, you just went mad and you were like, I'm not going to do this project, and you deleted everything. So a lot of things like that. And number two is collaboration. As I said, that you need to develop with a lot of people. In the real world, you don't sit alone in front of a computer and type things. So you need Git for that. And three, backup and restore. Like, every day is not a good day. There are some bad days where you mess up, and let's say your product stops working or something. You need to go back to the old version. So Git helps you with that. And reproducibility. So let's say there are 10 people working on a same singular project. So every person might not see, might have a different computer, might have a different OS, might have, some people might even be using on their phone. Some guy has a Mac, some person has a Linux, some doesn't have Windows. Some person might have dependencies, not. So there are a lot of different variances. And like, every person on the team working on the project has to have the same version and the same kind of environment for writing the project. So it documents the whole project. And versions and the changes in what you did. So it documents the whole project. So as you can see, I hope you've understood that gravity of how important Git is and why we need to learn Git. So even though it's, yeah, so that's a basic gist of Git. Um, okay. So I think Adarsh will talk to you about the installation usage of Git right after mine. So I'll just skip it. It's not that hard. It's just an exe file you just have to download. Okay. Now let's get into the key basic concepts. So there's nothing complicated, and it's just pretty simple. Okay. It's just something very intuitive, and you can understand it. There's no logic, there's no like complicated workflows and anything, so nothing to worry about. So I think let's begin. Okay, so the first important term like you need to know in Git is like a repository. Everyone talks about repository, complicated and long words make everything sound fancy and difficult, but don't worry, repository is nothing. Repository is just a folder. Like how you write all your programs, save it in a folder. That folder, according to Git, is called a repository. Okay, so that's it. That's all. So this repository is a special kind of folder because the software Git is a software, right? So the Git software will store not only the code which you have, but also all the changes and all the features of Git are enabled on this folder. That's all. Um, okay. That's all. I don't think there's anything more that can be said about a repository. It's just a simple topic. So next, I'll go on to this. So the reason I'm explaining all the terms before we get right into the implementation of it is because, like, if you're not familiar with the terms and concepts, it will be a little overwhelming at first. You might not understand the theory, just basics of it first before we actually do anything with it. So I hope that's okay, and I'm not intimidating anyone with slides and slides. Okay, so let's continue. Sorry for the tangent. So now a commit. So what is a commit? Like, just English, simple English terms. Commit, like, let's say on New Year resolution, I'm going to commit to studying 3 hours a day. Like, commit as in it's a decision you take. So like, as it's shown in the PPT, is like a decision or a save point. Like, if you played like games which are offline games, you before you like before you go to a boss fight, what do? You're like, oh no, if I die, I lose everything. You save everything and then you go to the boss fight. If you lose, you load the old save. Similarly, so what a commit is basically, like, let's say I'm, writing a Python program or something. So let's say I want to implement a new feature. Okay, I think I'll continue the analogy of the website, which I said. I want to implement a sidebar, a menu bar for them. So what I do, let's say I sit today and I write the code for the menu bar. Okay. So at the end of the day, I'm done with implementing this feature and I'm ready to show it to the others in the team so that they can improvise or do anything. So what I do, at the end of all the code I wrote, I make a commit. I make a commit, and then the it gets saved in a Git as a save point or a checkpoint in Git. So this is generally done with a few commands. Don't worry, it's nothing intimidating. Others will clear all of your view. So it's just uh, so like in this case, you can see hello.py. It's the Python program which is written, and that is added into Git, and then you commit. So in the commit, like if everyone's seeing what you have done, you need to add a message. So that message is like, I added a hello world Python program. So this is a gist of it. Okay. Okay. Now, see, there's just two more slides. Don't worry, it's not a lot of theory. Okay. Now it's fork. So what do we think of forks? I know fork is a very weird term to use, but like, so what you do? Let's say maybe forks are not needed when you're doing your own project with a couple of your friends or something. But let's say there is this project that a friend made. Okay, he made some sort of fancy project, and I go to him. I'm like, the theme is not nice. You made it all blue. You just change it and make it green. Blue is not a nice color. He doesn't agree with you. You argue with him. He doesn't care. But his code is there on public on, and you can see you have access to the repository. So the thing is, he doesn't give you the access. It's his project. It's not your project. So you want to change something and you can't get someone else to change it. So you do it on your own. So this is the spirit of open source. You have everything available. Like you can either convince someone else, you submit feature. Like let's say you use Spotify or something. You want a new feature on it. You can't just go ask the devs, bro. It just add them. And like even if the Spotify is a huge company, they don't care about what one or two users say. And so you can't make it on your own. You can't say, I want this feature added. I'll add it on my own. You can't do that. But in open source, everything is open. You can see the program, you can see all the source files. You want a feature, you can add it on your own. So the fork is the most important thing, especially in the spirit of Hacktober. So that's what it is. So it's like what you do is I went to tangent again. So you had this friend who made a blue website and you wanted to green. So what do you do? He doesn't agree with you. So what you do? You fork his repository. And what you do? You make fork is basically you make your own copy of the repository, but you will have the access to it, like administrator access. You can do anything with the repository. But in the case of your friends, you can just view his repository. You can't write code on it. He's not allowed you to do it. So that's what fork does. So generally, like, uh, so what you do, let's say you make the website green in color, you make it all, beautiful, and then you show it to your friend. He'll be like, and that actually convinces him. Okay, he'll be like, oh wow, actually this is better. Blue is not that good. Now what you can do is you can just there's this thing called a pull request. So what do you think is what pull request does is, let's say you have a fork. So it pulls all the code and copies it into the fork. How do I explain it? So okay. Uh, okay, the fork gets mirrored onto the main repository. So what happens is even your friend's repository from blue, it will turn green. That means he's accepted your code. He's accepted your fork. That's what it is. I've simplified it a little bit, but I think this is good enough to work on Git. You don't need to know all the what is happening inside. So don't so okay. I think I went a little ahead of myself and I explained pull request already. So yeah, I guess I'll explain it a little more extra lines now. So yeah, a pull request is basically, as I've talked about folks right before. So you propose your changes. You tell them, see boss, I've changed it from blue to green. Look how it is in my repository. If you think green is a good idea over blue, you can merge it. You can take my code and put it in the main repository. So the admin of your repository, in case your friend, he'll look at it. If he's happy, he'll accept it. So that's all. Yeah, I think, yeah, okay. I think this is enough. I don't need to get into more detail because, like, the better way to learn things is by doing it yourself. Just reading blank theory and listening to people is not fun. So I think I'll give it on to others. He'll explain you with an interactive session. It's going to be fun. You can use Git along with us and make some changes. And now I'm going to mute on to
Hey guys, what's up? So thank you, Tanmay. So now I'll be presenting. Yes, sir. Okay, so I think I'm live. Okay, so it's expected of you to have a GitHub account right now. If you don't worry. You can just go to github.com and then just sign up here. It's a really simple thing. Secondly, I want everyone to install Git. So you can go to git-scm.com/downloads and install Git for yourself. There's Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. So you can just get any according to your OS. And then the easiest way to use Git is VS Code. So I'll show a demo on how to set up a local repository and work on it, and then later go into a remote repository to push your code. So, and also pro tip, you can register on hacktoberfest.com. You can just authorize it with GitHub, and you'll be automatically uh, you'll be automatically signed into Hacktoberfest, and you'll be taking part in the event itself. So, okay, just a minute. Is the screen visible? Okay, so yeah, back to the demo. I'll just create an empty file on my desktop, and I'll be opening it using VS Code. Okay, so here we have VS Code, uh, and there's a source control tab at the left side. So what you do is you open an integrated terminal in it, and you initialize an empty Git repository. Imagine I create a new file called demo.py, and I just add a just a minute. I think there's an issue with the hey guys, yeah, sorry for the hiccup. So I'll go over it again. You can download the Git software from git.scm.com/downloads. It's available for all the OSs, Mac OS, Windows, and Linux. And it's expected of you to have a GitHub account. If not, you can just sign up using github.com. And then, pro tip, you can go to hacktoberfest.com and authorize it with Git. you'll automatically be participating in the event. It's a month-long event. You don't have to do anything. You just have to make 4 pull requests and you'll be done. You'll be getting free goodies and stuff. So back to the demo, I created an empty file here and I'll be opening it with uh, Visual Studio Code. I'll just go it again. You initialize an empty repository. You go to your CMD, you open Visual Studio Code in that particular directory. Suppose you have an empty file right now. You create a demo.py. I'll create a demo.py. I'll create a new uh, file and just save the file. Now, to initialize a Git repository, you just run git init. There's a whole cheat sheet that you can use. It's better if you remember these commands. It's going to be pretty helpful. So, yeah. And the git init initializes a repository. You can see this U button here that says untracked right here. So after you initialize a repository, you can start adding files to it, and then I'll just create a few different files. Right. And- okay. So all these files are currently untracked. That means Git is not tracking these files. To make Git track these files individually, there are two ways. There's an option on VS Code under the source control panel. There's a plus sign next to your file name that says stage changes, or you can do git add dot. That will stage all these files automatically for you. Now, as expected, you should see an index added. That indexing or staging, it's the same thing. So all these files are currently staged right now. They're ready to be committed to the main branch. So now that these are staged, you can just go ahead and comment these files using a message. So git commit -m. You use an M flag to state a message. You just to add demo. demo. So now it says I've committed two of these files, demo1 and demo.py, and your working branch is clean. I can do git status on branch master, nothing to commit, working tree clean. So this is basically how local repositories work. Now I'll be explaining how you can do a hosted repository. So basically, we created a temporary repository here, and what you do is for every uh, new repository you want to fork, just go to the repository. Hello, yeah, sorry. You go to the repository, you can see a fork option right here. You just click on this option. So this is basically Tanmay's GitHub account, Tanmay's repository, and I'm just gonna fork it and explain to you how you can make changes and push to it. Just a second. Yeah. So I now have the option to create a new fork. It's under my ownership, Adarsh access, and then repository name Git Good. I'll copy the main branch. So it'll automatically create a copy of his repository onto my account, off of which I can work. Yeah. So I now have the entire repository into my account. So what I'll do next is I'll click on the code option here, and then under the clone tab, I'll copy the HTTPS link for it. And then on my desktop, I cd into my desktop, and then I'll just do git clone, paste the link. So we'll clone the entire repository onto my desktop. You can see right here, if I refresh this, there's a git code repo folder created on my desktop. Now let's cd into the repository. Let's open it in Visual Studio Code. Yeah. Okay, so as you can see, I have this entire repository which is README that Tanmay initialized. I can just create a new file called index.html, whatever I want, and then I'll just pass. I'll just create a basic code template, nothing fancy. Okay, yeah. So I have a basic thing. Okay, so it's already initialized a Git repository inside this. See, so you have an untracked file changes. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So what I'll do next is I'll open an integrated terminal in this, and then I'll be committing this particular. So it's untracked right now. So I'll be adding this to. I'll stage this. So now it's staged and it's ready to be committed. So I'll create a commit, git commit, then M, add like text.html. Make sure your comments are always clear and helpful. So right now I created an index.html. It's already committed. I can push it to the main branch. Hit push. Now after we do this, we expect the entire code to be updated right here in the main GitHub repository. Okay, I ran into an error. Connection reset. Okay. So I think there's an error with the command line interface. So no issues. I think I'll use GitHub Desktop for this for now, and later we'll see how to. I'll just use Git. I'll clone the repository using GitHub Desktop. This is a very simple app you can use if you don't want to use the command line interface. You can just clone it using GitHub Desktop. It's a really simple app, and yeah, that's it. Just the plan brother. Yeah, I should have a repository. Yeah. Create a new file and like storage HTML. Mhm. Have to do anything, it'll automatically track all the changes in the file and simply click a few buttons to be let's save the file, and you can see all the changes that I made to the particular index.html file. So I can write my commit message here, index.html, and commit to main. and then push origin. As soon as I push to origin, I can go onto my GitHub and refresh it, and you'll have a you'll have your index.html file here. And as you can see, this branch is one commit ahead of tinted fireglass main. So tinted fireglass main is Tanmay's original repo. It states that my fork is one commit ahead of his. So what if I want to merge it? I can create a pull request right here. You can go to pull request or just create a new pull request. Whatever changes you make, it'll automatically track all of them and create a pull request. So yeah, I can just create index.html. I'll leave a short description, created index.html, and then create a new pull request. Now, as soon as Tanmay accepts this pull request, the entire my version of the fork will automatically be added onto his, and yeah, it's basically that's how you collaborate and work together on software. Now I'll be handing it over to Raghav for the closing Q&A session.
Yeah, I think we had a good time there. And we're almost done with the session. So if you guys have any questions, you can put them in the chat and I'll know those questions and I can clarify. Or any comments, like anything you want to say, just put it in chat and I'll.
Oh, hi. Hi, Hemant Krishna. So, what? Oh, yeah, we need to address the difference between Git and GitHub. So, I can see like GitHub and Git. Okay. Git is a software that is used for tracking and doing changes in the repository, and GitHub is a place to host them. Okay. For example, like what I can tell you is another analogy is like, let's say what uh, the chat is. Okay. I fucked up.
Yeah, this other thing I wanted to bring up is that we have one of the projects that we'd like you to contribute to if you're interested in starting right away. Is we have this app that lets you upload and build your assignments fast. So if you have a bunch of codes that you have to like take screenshots of and upload, we will do that. Our app will basically do the work of stitching it all up into one PDF and upload it. So we've been writing code for that. We've had like a rough model running on our GitHub, and I'll just show you how it looks now. So if you go to GitHub and you can start cloning and you can start contributing to this over here. So what it does is essentially you can follow the instructions that you learned earlier today. And what it does essentially takes your name and all your details, and then it'll build your assignment for you. So it'll be pretty useful for you as a student to have something like this. So if you're interested in contributing right away, you can start. Like if you contact us after the session, we'll let you know what exactly we need or how we see improvements. So yeah, if this sounds interesting, please reach out to us. Yeah, are there any other questions? If there aren't, I think we're done for today. It was great to have you all here, and thanks for letting us present. And yeah, thank you. Thanks for everyone who joined it. It was really
Okay, for the difference between GitHub and GitLab. So GitHub and GitLab are basically the same thing. They are just competitors. Both of them do the same thing. So just like how there is Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Coca-Cola and Pepsi are the same thing. They're literally cola brands, but they are different. They're sold by different companies. Same way, GitHub is sold by Microsoft, where GitLab is by another company. I don't know who does GitLab, but it's separate. Other than this, there are a lot of different other Git providers like Bitbucket and all. So GitHub is not the one and only place to store your Git software, Git repositories. It's just a alternative that is generally suggested as a GitHub alternative. So that's all it is. I hope I cleared your doubt, or it's fine. Oh yes, you can host your own Git. Like for that, you need to set up a server and all. But generally, for most beginners, you can just start with GitHub or GitLab. But do you want to do it? Yes, you can. Even the difference between what? I didn't get your question. Um, I didn't understand your question. Could you elaborate a little? Git diffs? Okay, okay. Okay, so like let's say when you're committing, okay, get blobs and trees. I mean, all those concepts like blobs and trees and all of that are, I think, out of the scope for like a beginner tutorial kind of introduction to Git. Maybe we'll provide some resources to, we'll provide some extra resources to whoever, is enthusiastically, want to learn about Git can. We'll put them in the description, and then yeah, we'll just send it to you in the chat. Others is putting them in the chat so that you can explore more about Git. I'm glad that yeah, just a second, we're putting it. And by the way, Hemant, Git diffs are like, let's say when you're committing, you can, it'll just show you the difference between what your present GitHub repo is and your changes. It'll show you what are all the changes, diffs as in the differences between them. So I don't think there are any more questions. So I guess we could wrap it up. Oh, okay then. Thanks to all of you for staying through these 45 minutes. And I hope you all learned a lot of things over here. And Git is very important. So I guess you'll all be, implementing it. So, oh, there's, okay then. Bye-bye.